Aim high, shoot far, aim for the moon. If you miss, you'll hit a star. Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Better Together, sharing our lupus stories. And what can I say? Listen, we are doing better. Life is good. Blessings are plentiful. You all fellow Lupies, my family out there, we are at number 12. 1, 2. This is our 12th episode in this webinar series on living with lupus. And I don't want to speak too soon, but I feel like the future looks positive. Okay, so and that's because of all of you. So continue to keep joining, keep looking back. If this is your first time joining us, please check all the other 12 episodes that we've gone through. We've talked about so many things, and we're going to discuss this a little bit today. We, as in bringing in my co-host, Dr. Michaela Baird. Welcome. Hey, girl. So good to see you.
Hey, Chanel, it's great to see you.
How are you feeling this evening? I'm feeling so good.
Feeling good. I'm feeling grateful for this space, this season, working with you to share this great space. It's been fun.
No, it's been so good.
I was thinking back about when we started this, how excited I was to have this space to really touch on all these topics we just don't have time for when I sit down for a one-on-one doctor's visit. It's just so exciting to really explore all of these really important topics that are equally important to all the treatment discussions and blood work discussions that I have.
No, I think that was, and it's so crazy that feels like yesterday, but that was a
Mhm.
really long time ago, 12 episodes in. And when we were first asked, when I was first asked to be a part of this project, this series, it was, first of all, it was like a resounding yes, because I firmly believe in just finding spaces for folk living with lupus. And also, I know we have other autoimmune fam in the building as well, but just having space to talk about what it's really like living with lupus and to talk to people that are living their best life, that are, super resilient and dealing with the ups and downs of living with this. And also just kind of speaking about these options that you mentioned, just having these other ways of taking care of ourselves, whether it be helping us talk more with our doctors, or whether it be, you know, I think Biogen trial link, how that's been helpful, just like having us have resources around wellness and other options for health. I think we killed that. I think we did that. I think we did a good job together and
I
help.
think so. And we had the opportunity to meet in person as well and, talk a little bit more. And I think that um, it's important that everyone really hears that there are lots of great resources. And one of them we've been sharing is Biogen Trial at triallink.com, offering a lot of information about clinical trials to learn more about what research is being done, because this is really just a small piece of it. We want people to really see that there's more coming, and hopefully better treatments, more research to figure out what those better treatments are. But just discussing what's happening is a big part of why this show is awesome.
Yeah, no, and we had some really, really great episodes in the past. I feel like there's somebody that's going to be watching right now that's going to say, "Hey, what did y'all talk about?" So we're going to go through some of our highlights, our little highlight reel, like the NFL or something, and go over some of the things that I think were really, really good. I
What was your highlight? Tell me your favorite moment.
I think we kicked it off so well with some amazing people. That the relationship webinar, because that is one of those conversations that you don't talk about with your doctor, and
Mhm.
what spaces you have to talk about. How do I date with lupus? Like, what does that even look like? I think it
Mhm.
was really important for us to be able to do that and have those conversations with each other. And we had Monique Massey, who's the lemonade maker. And, for her, like, it's crazy when you think about, a lot of times living with lupus, we're worried that somebody's going to find out that we have a chronic illness and run. When
Right.
her husband found out 6 months before they got married, and he did not hesitate. He was like, we're in this together. That was so hopeful and so loving, you know, that you can still be a person and that it's okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Definitely. I mean, that same show, I was learning about you we were talking about dating and relationships. I got to hear a little bit about your, approach to it. And I think it's also important that everyone, really looks up to you to kind of hear how you're approaching a lot of these situations.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I it's not who I am, because I think at the end of the day, I tell everybody, I'm still amazing. I'm Chanel, like I'm Chanel, and and so when we date, we still have to date like we are who we are. We're people, and not this illness. And so it comes up in conversation. I'm going to bring it up, but what's most important is I'm trying to figure out if you're the one for me. So,
100%.
it's not oh my goodness, I have this illness, so let me stop talking about, let me act like I'm less than, I should be happy someone's going to accept me with this. No, I'm, and I say this to you all out there. I don't know who you are. Somebody out there need to hear this. You're a too fly to settle for something that is not what you need, and not someone that's not serving you, just because they'll deal with the fact that you have a chronic illness. So, that was good. It was a good conversation about that. And I feel like, Monique, and oh, we also had Adrienne Nicole, who's talked about that too. Just this idea of, we're still picking, we're still picking the person.
Right, right. And it's different for everyone. You're probably sick of me saying, because it ties back into lupus, like everyone's experience is so different. And I think it's important for everyone to really approach it with their own personal perspective on it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I know Adrienne talked about being previously married, and that she's not, she's no longer married, and she wouldn't mind getting married again, but she's living her best life, her best single life, and that's something too. There is some power to that. And I think the poem I shared that week was about like being okay, and that nothing's wrong if you're single. I'm throughout the course of this show, I became single, so and at the end of the day, you got to be okay with yourself, and you have love around you. And I think that was also another thing that we talked about, like the idea that we had support around us. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I think what we're saying, like, these are all such different situations, but each one is a happy ending, Each one ended in a good space. So I think that that's a really important thing to think about wherever you are in that journey. It all ends well.
Yeah, and what's your one of your favorite episodes? I mean, I feel like I think I
Well,
know the answer,
for
but
me, I think about these shows and the questions that go unanswered, the things I don't have time to talk about in a visit, and it's nutrition. It comes up all the time. Everyone asks me, I Googled anti-inflammatory foods and I was told I have to eat these three things, or this is the perfect anti-inflammation diet. And so it was really nice to have a space to really flesh out like what that means from an expert dietitian who herself has personal experience with this. So I really enjoyed Tanya Fryrich coming in and sharing her lupus dietitian expertise.
yes, that's my favorite. Yes, our favorite lupus dietitian, definitely talking about all of those things. And we also had like a newly diagnosed loopy that was there, and I think we were really supportive. That was a few episodes after. Those are really really good. Just being, those moments where we got to really connect with folk that were still figuring it out. I think that was so important throughout the course of the series. So if you are still figuring it out, yeah, we're not all just like plowing through and okay, like we are all still figuring it out. And I think that was those moments are really really great in this series as well.
Yeah, I think that was Shelby, and I really remember that she felt so empowered being in the room with you and hearing from other people like Tanya who are really at a great space with, identifying with what they're working through with their lupus and living their best lives. And for someone who's earlier in the process, this is what I wish I could connect all my patients with when I meet them for the first time. Someone who is on the other side and saying, "You've got this, you're going to get there, you can do it." So I think it's nice that everyone's been in the same space.
No, thank you. This means so much to me. It helps me to always remember too, because I do have bad days. And I also think about people that are still battling, and people that are like powerhouses. And so this is our last throwback, because we got to get into the other parts of the show. But Emmett Henderson, and I think something that goes undiscussed quite often in the lupus community is that men get lupus too, and that
Yeah.
they don't always feel the support that we feel a lot of times, you know. And he's still waiting for a second kidney transplant, but he
Mhm.
also has a supportive partner, which goes back to this idea of like support and how important that is.
Mhm.
And they have, and the supportive partner, she has lupus as well. So we see them living their best lives as they can, and we still continue to send our prayers to Emmett and to them as they try to continue to fight this battle. And that's so important. That part about men living with lupus, I always try to bring that into spaces.
It's so important, as we're trying to teach and share awareness about lupus. We talk all the time, like 90% of people with lupus are women, but there is that 10%, you know, 1 in 10 people, and that number may be underestimating how many men have lupus because we're not diagnosing it as well. And just for him to be such an amazing spokesperson in a space we don't see a lot of men, I feel like that's so powerful for us as we educate our family members and friends and think about, who could have lupus symptoms. It's really powerful to see someone so um, vocal about his own condition.
I mean, and it's hard to be. I can speak to myself, like just as a testimony. You know, I was diagnosed in 2004, my junior year, prior to my junior year of college, and you know, it was a year of uncertainty. I was just in pain, and it was a
Mhm.
struggle, and I didn't know how, you know, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know anyone that looked like me that was my age that had lupus until I found a support group, and that was a lot
Mhm.
more helpful. But I didn't know how it was going to impact my life, and you know, to fast forward after, you know, hospitalizations and near death experiences due to blood clots and you know, ups and downs and medicines and all of these things, you know, to still be able to, you know, move into the spaces that, you know, I believe that the creator wanted me in, you know, to continue to have toured for 8 years as a full-time artist and
Mhm.
performed everywhere from Italy to South Africa to Hawaii, you know, to be
Mhm.
able to have had those experiences, you know, as a singer or poet, you know, to be able to speak and work with the Vice President of the United States, my sorority sister, Dr. Kamala Harris, Vice,
Yeah,
you know, to be able to have that
you
experience.
can't just jump over that. You got to tell us more about that.
Well, through the organization that I run, I'm the executive director at Urban Word. We do poetry and hip hop with young people across both locally in New York City through school-based programming and community-based programs. But we also run the National Youth Poet Laureate program. So they
Mhm.
invited myself and one of our students, Miles, who is an absolutely brilliant, to come in and speak and perform at the Black History Month celebration that she did at her house about a week ago. So
Wow.
I believe there's a picture of me like with the seal like at her front gate. I didn't know if it was it was there. I'm still waiting for them to send me the picture with her,
Uh-huh.
but you know, it was great. I got to see her. I got to see DJ D Nice, who is a friend of mine, associate of mine. We have a lot
Mhm.
of mutual friends, and I'm always like, Do you remember me?" And he actually remembers me, which feels nice. You know, our producer was like, "Who is that? He is attractive." Like, oh, that's so yeah, there is me at the that's me at the gate.
Woo!
That's the seal of the vice president.
You look
That was really
fabulous.
thank you. I was wearing the pink, and I was able to make it in some heels for a little while. When I
Okay.
look over, they were thrown across the room. But there's that. There's a picture of a guy with a hat on hugging me. I feel like I think I sent that your way as well. But yeah, no, it was just a really good time. But I really think about all that I've been able to accomplish. You know, at this point, John, you can throw up any pictures. I could, you know, speak to it, but I think it's important for folk to know that people are lupus warriors. That's us. We spoke at
Yay.
Together Against Lupus. We had that wonderful seminar together.
That was a fun time. Yeah, we had a good group there and we were chatting. Yeah.
Hey Rick, that's Rick there. Rick, who's the head of Proximity Health Solutions, which is the organization that brought us on to be able to do this, you know, with this support of Biogen. And just being able to, that was my first time meeting you in person, Dr. Mika.
I know, and it feels like because we've done all these shows, actually seen each other in person, but it was better in person for
It
sure.
was so much better, and you're just so cool. I was like, oh yeah, you're definitely like my bestie now.
Yeah. So tell me, if you had to think of yourself when you were first diagnosed, possibly having done a clinical trial, like can you even picture telling yourself that however many years ago when you were first diagnosed that you were going to be speaking at all these places, such a big advocate for lupus? It must feel crazy to look back.
Oh no, I think that, because especially with the fact, and I spoke about this before, that there was a time where I did not imagine I could have I did not want to do a clinical trial. That was a real thing. And but going into it and realizing how it could impact others, realizing how it could impact my life, with new
Mhm.
treatments, giving me access to new treatments and new opportunities for me to, I think the theme of this, we're going to you're going to get sick of us hearing this, everyone, so I can keep living my best life, my best lupus
Yes.
life. It was important for me to do that. And so I couldn't have imagined that that was going to be it. And I think about, what does it mean to have access, and to be a participant in clinical trials as an African American woman, knowing the history, but also knowing all of the protections that have been made over the last, forever, however many years, around how these trials work that make it safer for us.
Yeah.
It's
I think
important
that
to
was
know that.
a great show. We were able to talk about, the consent process, how much power you have to really ask for things that would be supportive of you if you were to be in a clinical trial, which I don't think a lot of people know about. So I think that was a really great episode as well. We've got some great episodes in the bank.
Yeah, we have some powerful lupus warriors, and I know I'm busy, but I know that there's quite a few of us busy. I think we had a whole show about rest and no one was resting.
That was definitely the theme.
But like Brandy Gomez Duplessis, she was working with everyone from Oprah. Said she was the head of the NBA All-Star games and had just come out of that. And there's a lot of lupus warriors, some of which who couldn't even like be on the show because they were so busy. You have no idea the lineup that, you know, Lord willing, we come back, we're probably going to have. But we have so many people that are doing amazing things and are on the move, and we make sure to get our rest. Stay connected to our medical teams and our support networks, and that's how it works. We maintain our health and we continue living our best lupus life in spite of having this chronic illness. And we have some guests in here that are fearless, powerful lupus warriors. We're going to talk to one of them right now, Tamika Smith. She is a lupus survivor and community health educator. She's the owner of Moan's Healthy Eats, which is a distinctive natural health and wellness beverage line. So we got some healthy drinks for y'all, not just drinks. We got some healthy drinks for y'all.
Mhm.
And so, well, we're about to bring in our friends, Tamika.
Yes, where is she? Welcome, Tamika.
Ladies.
Welcome,
Hi,
Tamika.
ladies.
We
Hello.
know that you are just not only an entrepreneur but a model spokesperson as well. We've heard.
Yes.
So
Would you
tell us
like
a
me to
little
tell
bit
you
about
guys a
that.
little bit about it?
Yes,
Yeah,
please,
tell
please
us
let us
about it.
know, model.
Okay, so listen, it came to me by surprise. It's actually my friend's accessory line, and
Mhm.
she asked me like when I was really battling lupus, did I want to be a part of it? Initially, I wanted to say no, but I said, you know what? I need to really do this for myself because life is not over with yet just because I have lupus. And I also need to do this for the people who was already inspired by my story on social media.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
I think we have a clip of Tamika doing some modeling for this, so everyone has to see this. Believe that
Serve.
I can't believe you've never done that before.
Well, I actually have some experience way back when, but this is something so new for me, and it has such a different meaning for me since being diagnosed with lupus, because a lot of times, we don't feel our best, we don't look our best. And I started to accessorize myself when I would spend a lot of time in the bed. And I said, this makes me still feel human. This still makes me feel confident, makes me feel sassy, and it makes me feel like I am actually on the verge of a brink of a healing. So I would just accessorize, and I say, you know what? I want to inspire other women, and not only women, because they have men's accessories as well, but men with lupus to also feel and to look their best regardless of what they're going through.
Oh no, that is powerful. That's beautiful. I mean, you just look absolutely gorgeous,
Thank
and
you.
that's so important. Thank you for bringing that into the space. This idea that we don't always look, we don't always feel like we're looking 100%. So bringing those things that make us feel a little nicer are really important.
Yes.
Definitely. And then we have another guest. We're gonna bring some. Actually, we're gonna make this a whole big party. Okay,
Okay.
that's how we're gonna close this 12th episode, this close of this first season. Our next guest is a social media influencer with over 33,000 followers, so she's popping. Okay,
Wow.
she is at Pretty Sick Lupus Chick on IG and is living her best life while in a wheelchair or on the back of an elephant, a camel, or dancing with her husband in front of the Eiffel Tower. She gets in and she goes in. Okay. Shamika Marty has gone from bad to good to worse and still managed to share her story to inspire others. So we're gonna bring up my new friend, Shamika. AKA we got three Mikas in here right now. We're gonna bring her in.
Yes, yes, we do. So we have to battle for the name, like you said. I did not know all of us was going to be here.
We got some Nikas in here, but this is really important. I'm so excited to have you on here and us being able to just talk through and talk as like a fellowship, as like sisters, as family, sister girls, and talking a little bit about what it's like to live with lupus. And so definitely have questions for each of you, but some of these are just really us having a conversation. But you've done some traveling.
Um, I like to travel, and my inspiration was my grandmother. My mother had lupus. My mom took care of my grandmother, who had been bedridden with severe rheumatoid arthritis. Never went anywhere. My grandmother would talk to me all the time about the places she would want to go, and I'm making sure I live my best life in honor of both of them. Just because you are sick and afflicted doesn't mean that you can't go anywhere. Doesn't mean you can't look fabulous. My kids all the time are like, Mom, we're going to Walmart. Why do you have makeup on? And I have to look good because I don't want to look the way I feel, and it makes me feel better. So I go places. I make sure, and no matter what, even if I'm sick, like you, I will be in a wheelchair. They'll push me around. They get a kick out of it. They do wheelies with me, and it's a fun time.
That's so great.
Wow, that's so fun. So, Shamika, we need to know, um, tell us what your life looks like, in a picture. Just describe it for us.
I think we have some pictures actually. Do
Okay.
we have pictures? I would love to see if we do. Yeah, we do have some pictures that you shared with us, or that we have of you like just doing these amazing things that we just probably said. I know because you've done so many different places. I'm curious, what's one of your favorite places that you've been?
Bali,
Oh,
Bali, bar. Okay.
Beautiful.
I felt
Where
like
what did
Beyonce
you do
out
there?
there. They were bowing to me. I was like, oh my God, honey, I feel like Beyonce. I want to stay here.
oh,
Where
it's
do you have next on your travel list?
um, I want to go to Croatia and go to Yacht Week. Um,
I was thinking about that. I feel like it
yeah,
might be a next year thing for me, but I definitely think maybe we need to collaborate.
yes, I mean that or Greece, but everybody does Greece. I like to do places that no one is going and do different things. But I love the water. The water brings calm to me, and
Mm.
I get my energy back from it. So I just want to go there for my birthday. My birthday is actually December 31st. So they have Yacht Week during that time.
So you're ready.
Yes.
So we have some pictures to see of you in action. So where is this?
Wow.
This is actually in Bali. I said I wanted to ride a camel, and we haven't gone to Egypt yet. So I saw that they have it there, and I'm like, oh, honey, we're gonna go ride camels. We're gonna go there. We went to the monkey forest. We went to. I love seeing waterfalls. I love chasing waterfalls, is what I call it. I think you have another picture. I got to ride an elephant. Um, I like doing anything that involves being by the water.
Oh, this
That
is
was
beautiful.
that was our anniversary. Every year we get married, so I buy a dress and do all the things. So that was our photo shoot in front of the
Wow.
Eiffel Tower.
Oh, that's
Now
so dreamy.
I can't tell in any of these photos, but were any of these days where you were feeling not your best?
Oh, usually when I'm on a trip, I have to plow through and I do not feel great half the time. I actually just had a kidney transplant a month ago, and
Wow.
no one can really tell. So during that time, all these pictures, I was just making sure that I can make it. If I can't make it, then you know what, we'll stay in bed. But I try to at least get out a couple days. And unfortunately, I have to up my prednisone. I'll tell my kids, yes, we're going to go hiking. And in the background, I'm upping my prednisone to make sure I can hang with them. But it's like my go to. I don't like doing that, but I want to make sure that I can make a good time for my kids. They understand. They're like, Mom, are you okay? You don't have to do this. And I'm in my head, like, no, I have to do this. I
Well,
have to.
congratulations on your kidney transplant. You said that was 2 months ago?
1 month.
1 month ago.
Wow.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
We
I'm
were
like, do I look like? And they're like, you're walking around, you're doing everything. So I try to overcome and like overachieve a little bit sometimes, and get rest. Like after this call, I'm going to sleep.
Oh,
I'm going to sleep.
well, thank you so much for taking the time, with us. I know sometimes I know what it's like to overextend sometimes, but definitely also I think that there are moments that it's sometimes it's worth it. Like you want to be able to enjoy your life and figure out how to best do that. So, wow. I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. And I mean, I know you mentioned your husband and your young people, your kids are supportive. I'm going to throw back to Tamika really quickly and just ask you, like, who are your support? I know you are living your best life, but do you have any supporters that are really like in your corner or helping you or just keep cheering you on, because that's important too.
I will say the top person is my son. My son is 20 years old. And when I was first diagnosed, it was very hard. I lost my mobility, and he just was there for me. In addition to my parents, in addition to my sister, which is my best friend, Angel. And also, I will say my therapist has been a really great support as well.
We definitely had a whole episode where we talked about the therapist and having somebody to help us kind of talk through all the things that we're going through, living with lupus, and just trying to, what does it mean to have your life shift so much and still have to keep shifting on a regular basis. So definitely shout out to mental health, shout out to talking to somebody out there.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Both of you are entrepreneurs. I don't know, you classify yourselves businesswomen, right? How are you managing being influencers, entrepreneurs with everything else?
Well, I'm not only an entrepreneur with social media influencer. I'm also a IT project manager for 3 different companies. So I do consulting, I do career counseling. I also mentor the children in Ohio, inner city youth that are looking to get jobs, helping them do mock interviews, and it's like a game of chess and moving things around all the time. So my life is at 100. But if I didn't have my support system, I don't know what I would do. My husband will help out and let me do my thing, and my kids will chip in, by cooking and cleaning and doing things. So I know that a lot of people may not have that. That's completely understandable. And I lived that life. I was the one helping my mother at 10 years old. So I know how that is. So I know that I'm very, very fortunate. But yeah, I have a good support system. My parents too, even though we live 3,000 miles away, will come over and come cook and give me a break.
Mm,
It's so
yes.
important having those people you can rely on to give you a break. And I think it's a big part of the self care piece. What about you, Tamika?
I will say no 2 days are the same. No 2 days are the same, but resting is key. I have learned to give myself grace in the process because a lot of times I used to be so hard on myself, like, why are you being so lazy? Why you can't do this? Why are you so tired? I had so many just like emotions about it. I was grieving the whole process for a good while. But overcoming that part of it, just no 2 days are the same, making sure that I have rest. And I ask for help now. At one time, I would be that person like, I could do it all. But now I ask for help. I depend on my support system. And it's just amazing because I have a mother who is front and center. She comes and helps to clean up my home. Anything I really need her for, she is here. We live 3 doors down from each other. And she's also a lupus survivor. Her lupus is actually in remission, but we just bond so much off of that because of her having lupus. And also I take the time, I cook, um I take the time and I cook and I make sure that I'm just making sure that I prioritize myself, prioritize my health. And I'm a busybody because in addition to this, it's almost sometimes like the weight of the world is on my shoulder because I do service clients who have lupus like myself, who have endometriosis and other chronic health issues. And, they come to me like, what can I do for inflammation? What can I do for this? And I'm always sending them back to their doctor, but I help them, to make sure I'm giving them the product that is right for them.
Hmm. Thank you. And I mean, and that's so helpful to know like what spawned the whole idea, at least the business itself. And, I think at this point, you have this whole line of different products and you mentioned it. I feel like I should ask you about it, and then we're going to talk about. I definitely want to talk about our other Mika, Shamika's. I definitely want to talk about how, because you got to help me figure out how my Instagram can be popping like yours. But we'll take a second and talk to Tamika. Talk to Tamika a little bit about her products. So what are some of your products? And know that you do a lot around health and wellness and whole holistic medicine. But what are the different things that they do? So I think we're gonna put up a couple of the products as we talk about them. But what's one that you think I should probably put in my pantry?
I will say sea moss gel or the wellness shots. But since we're looking at the liquid gold detox with sea moss, this is actually my number one seller because it's a natural anti-inflammatory detox. And I need to put a full disclaimer that this is not a cure. It is not a cure whatsoever. I still have lupus myself. I still have flare ups. But when it comes down to inflammation, and I also have endometriosis, it's very important that I take natural products to keep the inflammation at bay. Also, it includes sea moss gel, which is full of nutrients and minerals, magnesium and iron. It has more iron than your average chicken holds. It helps with immune support, and it also helps with chronic pain relief. It's just a natural alternative. And I will also put the disclaimer out there as well that it also comes with lifestyle changes. Even if you go the medication route, whatever route you decide to take, it's still very important that you manage a healthier lifestyle, making better choices when it comes down to anti-inflammatory foods. Let's say, for example, I'm one of those people, I love, love, love carbs, But there's an alternative to pasta, okay? There's an alternative like chickpea pasta, chickpea noodles. So those are the things. I don't just sell a product. I teach people how to live that healthier lifestyle. And everything that I do is not only about the money, it's also to just provide those free resources, and that comes via Instagram.
And you have the wellness shots. What's in these? I'm just curious.
The wellness shots, let me tell you, will give you a burst of energy without crash. These are like one of my top sellers. It helps with mucus relief. It also helps with inflammation. And I have specific ones that help with blood purification. So ginger is one of the main ingredients, which is a medicinal herb. It's been around for a very long time, Chinese era and things like that. But it's really, really amazing. The ginger turmeric is a blood cleanser. It helps with mucus relief as well. It's really, really good if you're struggling with chronic fatigue. It's good if you're having any type of post-nasal drip, or if you just say, hey, look, I want to make sure that my immune system is up to par.
Mm, definitely. As a Caribbean American woman, I know that my dad will just chew ginger, anytime
Yes.
anything happens. So definitely can imagine that these are things that are very natural to us. And I think that it's really good to talk about, like, what are the alternative methods of getting these vitamins and getting these things that can ease our symptoms. Yeah, I'm throwing it to Dr. Michaela. I know that there's, I know we've talked about, like, this importance of balancing. What are your thoughts around all of this?
Well, there's definite health benefits we know for pain with ginger and turmeric. So I think incorporating it into your diet in a healthy way is, as long as you're tolerating it well, definitely advised. I think the thing I would love Tamika to talk about, because I know she probably counsels people on doing this in a safe way, is detox, because those can go really south or they can work well, because I think sometimes people have some misconceptions around how to do a detox.
And the thing with our detox is, again, one of the main ingredients is ginger. Ginger has been around for a very long time. And one of the things when I was coming up, what I was told that it was for is for like anti-nausea, gastrointestinal issues, right? But it's so much greater than that. It's like a broader perspective, because it helps not only with inflammation, it helps with mucus relief, it helps with toxin removal, it also helps with cleansing the blood naturally. So a lot of times when people have kidney health issues, they'll turn to like ginger or turmeric as an alternative, because it does help with the cleansing of the blood. Also, it helps to extract heavy metals and toxins from the body. But one thing about our detox is that it's all natural ingredients. Nothing is, filtered, or nothing contains any type of ingredients that are harmful, chemicals that are harmful, is going to rebound to you. But it's also one thing that when I did this product, I said, I need to do something for people who have chronic pain, who cannot get out of bed and can't do too much for themselves. So it's already made for you, and it's already perfectly portioned and measured. Because some of the times people can take ginger and they'll take too much, and then that'll cause a reaction to have acid reflux. So it's important that you are, getting the measurements correctly, and you're taking as much as your body can consume, because everybody's body is different.
I think those are important points. And I think the other important point is, people understanding that a detox doesn't have to be cutting everything else out.
Yes.
It can be adding to what you're doing, which I think is how you're presenting it.
Yeah, because with our detox, it's like this. I include a detox guide, and I give you alternatives. I meet people where they are. I'm not going to say, hey, look, stop eating for 3 days and just juice for 3 days cold turkey. That doesn't work for everyone. And it can cause you to have negative reactions like headaches, intense joint pain. And if you're already dealing with chronic illnesses, who wants to deal with increased joint pain? You know what I mean? So, it's working with people and meeting people where they are. And it's not just for people with chronic health issues, it's also for preventative measures as well.
No, and I
Thank
see
you
that.
so much.
Yeah, I think that's so helpful, and thinking about like how your journey, your lupus journey, how this has helped you. I know you mentioned you have lupus, you have endometriosis, and how have you seen just changes happen for you? And once again, everybody, making sure you all know this ain't, we're not promoting a cure, but just
Mm-mm.
thinking about the fact that some things do help, and how has it helped you, Tamika, just making these changes?
Well, let me piggyback off of that. Was something I said a little bit earlier. I lost my mobility unexpectedly 5 months after having lupus. Some of my symptoms included left side weakness. It also included having tremors, excessive tremors. And I could not stand. My body would just shake, shake, shake back and forth. And I could no longer walk for a period of 8 months. For me, and this is only for me, medication didn't work. I really wanted it to work for me, but even the lowest dosage just was too much for my body to. I don't know. I guess I'm just one of those sensitive people to medicine. So fast forward, I started off with a fast. I said, you know what? Let me just go on a period of fasting. I'm gonna remove some of the foods that I would normally consume, such as dairy, processed foods. Another thing that I had removed was caffeine because I was heavy on the caffeine. And what I found for me, having neurological issues, it only heightened that sense of pain and the neural issues that I was going through at the time. So I started to incorporate sea moss gel. I noticed once I started incorporating the sea moss gel because my like my complete blood count, my blood panels, my magnesium, iron, and my vitamin D and vitamin C, all of my nutrients and vitamins were just critically low. When I realized that, I got on sea moss gel consecutively. I said, I got to see if this really going to work for my body. And so when I started to do those things, I started noticing like some changes in my body, like having more ability to get out of bed, having more energy, just being more mindful and conscious of my surroundings, and just changing my overall mood. And then maybe some months later, some months down the line, that's when I noticed that my mobility started to improve. And again, it's not a cure. I'm not saying that it's going to help anyone to walk, to restore their mobility, but I will honestly tell you, because I documented the entire journey on Instagram, that it worked for me in my body.
And such an important point, because as we're helping everyone think about what their holistic care plan is, it is so different for each person. And just to be open to trying different things, but also figuring out how you can integrate your medical care with some of the holistic treatments that you're talking about, Tamika. I think that it can be so different for each person, and it's good to be exposed to all the different options out there. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I wanted to get back to Shamika because you've had so much success as an influencer, and I can tell you it takes me a long time to do one Instagram post. So I've told this to Chanel. How do you find time to do this? You said you're doing all these things.
Well, the way that I manage my social media is while I'm there, I give you the good, the bad, the ugly. I give people hope because there are other people that are out there promoting, but they're not showing. So every time I get blood, there's a picture of me with a needle in my arm. I'm showing, I'm in the hospital. I detail before the doctor comes in. I'm here for this. I'm explaining. I'm like, oh, my creatinine level's this, documenting and also educating. So making sure that, what, I'm authentic and there's nothing that is fake about it. I'm like, I can't fake the fact that I'm in the hospital with 2 IVs in my arm. And this is why. And, I have people from Argentina, I have people from Italy reaching out to me just saying, what, thank you so much. I thought, I was the only one. Thank you for helping motivate me. And I'm like, if this girl can do that, and then you'll see me jump off a cliff in Hawaii with my kids. So it'll be like from one extreme to the other so
Right.
that people can see, it's just not something where I'm just doing one thing. I'm getting up out of bed. I wake up, good morning, make an inspirational post. I only find the time because I literally have my phone like right here ready. Okay, ready with it. Flip. I have the flip phone. Flipping it. I'm ready. Okay, go.
I love that you bring such a real piece to your daily experience and you share that. And I'm just really curious because the kidney transplant is such a big shift in someone's life. And, could you talk a little bit more about what your experience has been with that?
So I happen to be one of the people that got a kidney without ever doing dialysis. Why? Because also on my social media, I would document different things that you can do that are holistic in a different way. Like a lot of people do not know that you can do stem cell transplant. I had a lot of stem cell transplants that I paid for to give my kidney longevity, and that's something that's not known. Also, I had Raynaud's disease. I have 10 overlapping diseases over top of lupus. And I did hyperbaric oxygen treatments for 2 years straight. And these are things like I'm up all night. I have horrible insomnia. And what I do is I'm researching all the time what trials you can do, what other things you can do. I did juice, I did this, I did a detox, all these things, like Tamika said, it worked for me. What worked for me may not work for you. And I give that disclaimer. I'm like, but use this as an option. Look, you have to be your own advocate. These doctors will not tell you about these other things because they want to push the drug. And I'm not for that. I'm that patient that I go in and I say, well, I'm going to get back to you. I'm going to research this. And if I feel comfortable, I will take this drug. And
I have to say something, Shamika, because you said that. I can't just stop. So I have to say, your point of saying, what are the effects of a medication, like being an advocate for yourself in that space are really important because you're right. It could feel like someone is pushing a medicine, but you also have to be on the other end, really challenging your doctor to understand, why are you suggesting this? Because it's true, we don't always have all the time and we don't always give you all the information. And so I think it's a really good point because it sounds like you're a great self advocate.
yes, I remember sitting in the doctor's office with my mom, and she would just be like, okay, okay. You're in the doctor's office for about 15 minutes, and then they tell you, okay, you're going to take this, and then you walk out. And half the time people don't go and research, and they're just like, okay, so I'm on this new drug, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have to take that. And then I also have the relationship with my doctor where how many times you ask your doctor how they're doing? I know all my doctor's kids' names, what they're doing. When I got my kidney transplant, my retired doctor, rheumatologist, came the next day to come and just see how I was doing because we had that type of relationship.
Yeah. And a
And
lot of times we want to build those relationships and it's both ways, if you're, making extra effort to show your own interest in that building that relationship, we're going to show that too.
right. And we have to remember it's like going to a restaurant. They're recommending. Remember that. They're recommending. You have insurance. They work for you. You don't work for them. You can say something. You can object. And I think people forget that. And you just have to start researching and advocating for yourself. And
Yeah.
if not, have an advocate for yourself. Start writing things down. Before things went electronic, I had a binder and I would come in and like, all right, so these are my symptoms, this is what I ate, blah, 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 blah. How many people are taking the time to do that? Not many. So I learned that on my own, and I tell people to do that. And now they're like, thank you. I keep a food diary, and my doctor says this, blah, blah, blah. And people are able to reach out to me, and I, look, remember this is what you told me. Now you make sure to tell them, write it down so you don't forget. We always have lupus brain fog. Write it down. Don't just tell me, write it down and say it in your doctor visit.
I mean, I think that, and it's so affirming because I feel like that these are the conversations that we're always having. Like, and I know Dr. Michaela, you're like, dang, I'm getting ganged up on.
By Mika's,
You
no,
doctors,
yeah.
your medicines in my face, you know.
Yes.
but but no, but I mean, I definitely think it speaks to the fact that both of you actually are like really just advocating and looking out for your health and trying to keep your own best interest. And even just peeking at the comments from online, like Davina and Maria saying things like wow, this is affirming. I'm going through these things, and you have somebody whose body doesn't respond well to even painkillers. So what are the options out there? And sometimes it's not even that the doctors always are just trying to push medication. Sometimes they don't even know what's out there, and these things are so new and cutting edge. Unless you have doctors that are up like you are at night
Yeah.
looking up things. Sometimes they don't even know that these are options, and also recognizing that accessibility to some of these treatments, is an issue too, which is, that's a whole other conversation when we talk about, affordability of, I was looking into the oxygen, hyperbaric oxygen changer. So, I
Yeah.
understand, like, I think it's really, really helpful, but I know we're winding down, but I do want to ask like both of you this one question. What are some in the work that you do, either in the work that you do or even in the work that you do, as well as even in just your life, what are some positive moments you've had as a person living with lupus and you are living your best life? What does that, what are some moments that maybe just come into mind?
Hmm.
Take a second to think about it. I mean, we were just talking to Tamika, if you would like to jump in maybe and kick it off. Like, what is just something that makes you smile? Maybe somebody you helped, or maybe a time you had.
I would say just learning who I am as a person. Um, Lupus has taught me a lot about myself. It taught me a lot about boundaries. It has taught me a lot about, where I want to be at in life and what is really my true passion. Because prior to this, I was working for a juvenile justice system pretrial. Unfortunately, I was terminated at my lowest. Like at my lowest, I had just come out of the hospital, and I received a termination letter maybe like 5 days later, and it was my lowest point of all. And Moans Healthy Eats has been a lifesaver for me. It's not just about what I can do for the people, but they bring me so much joy, trusting me to produce these products, being a confidant and just encouraging me. And even when I come being transparent on social media and say, hey, look, today's not a good day, I'm having a lupus flare, I get so much love. And that means just the world to me. And also being a part of Noella Grace as a model, as a invisible illness model, just means the world to me as well, because I'm able to shine my light on so many other people battling this gruesome illness, but at the same time just showing them like we go through it, but the best is yet to come. Just
Yes.
hang in there. It's not the end of the world. And live each day, and that's for people with or without chronic illness. Live each day as if it's your last day.
Oh, thank
Beautiful.
you so much. Yes, passing it over to Mika, Shamika.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback off what she just said. You know how everyone always says you have a bucket list? I never say that. That is my dream list, my life list. Everybody dies, but nobody lives. And I make sure that I do that. There are days where my motivation is not there because I'm in so much pain, and I'll log onto my phone and I have all these messages, and it'll make me cry because I'm like, thank you for bringing me back. For me, when my diagnosis came, I had, in my head, my mom had it, I'll probably have it too. And when it happened for like 5 seconds, I was upset. And then I said, no, not why me, try me.
Mm.
And I live that all the time. When I get these messages, I say that like, look, you are that girl. You're that girl or you're that guy, and you're gonna do it. And end the story. And when I just get all these different messages of love from random people that I don't even know are watching me. That is my heart, or my kids just seeing how much I'm trying and it affects them, and they're like, my mom can do it. She's she's that girl.
Yes. Yes.
This has
And
been such a powerful close. I don't think we could have ended with better words and ending our set of shows in this season. So I just want to thank Biogen because they have given us the space to do this great work. I have to have a huge shout out and thank you to my co-host Chanel, um, and the whole team that makes this happen. And I just want to remind everyone and all of our viewers, if you're interested in additional information on lupus and clinical trials, please go to biogentriallink.com and check it out. So you can see that link below, biogentriallink.com. And so I can't think of a better way to end than Chanel with her spoken word. Uh, what's the title for tonight?
it felt appropriate to kind of go back to where we started. This might have been one of the first poems that I shared, but it was really about me recognizing me living my best life. So, yeah, I don't even know if this has a title.
Okay. And I guess before you start, just say bye to all of our guests. Thank you.
Oh, definitely. You think you own me. Squeeze my life in your palms, taking over my body. You think you are me, Lupus. You think because you've hijacked this vessel that you're captain. You think you can get away with mutiny, but see, I'm still the same me. The same beautiful butterfly floating on the breeze. I ain't scared to wrestle the wind, to battle Reynard's thorns, and not afraid to this disease, to find peace, be at ease with this disease. I miss my old life, but I'm fashioning a new one with this disease. And in no way am I saying this is easy. The way my cells fight themselves, that my chest is in a cage of pleurisy, that my scalp cries strands of my hair, the pain in my knees which interfere with my prayers can make it sometimes hard to find the joy in life. Sometimes makes the sun less bright, but I know no matter what, there's nothing that will take away my fight when it seems to make my day feel like night. I'll still reach for a star, and when it seems my world spins left, I've resolved to force it to revolve right. And even if my limbs refuse to move, my spirit will still dance. Every day I'm going to choose to enhance this universe with my presence in any way I can. Grateful to those who support me, love me. I know that lupus is not me, but it's the spark that created a flame. And my illness is not me, but it's the source of my vanity. Lupus, you can't damage me because my body isn't all I possess. I still have a purpose, a reason to smile. I'm still living my life to the fullest with no regrets. Thank you so much, Viagen. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much once again to Shamika and Tamika. Thank you, Dr. Michaela. And please remember to look for us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Find us on there, both myself. Find us on Better Together at Better Together. And also find me at Chanel Gabriel and Dr. Michaela at the Lupus Doc on Instagram. Please post your comments, share these videos, reach out, and share with other lupus warriors. Good night, y'all. Thank you for listening. Take care.